Hello folks, how are you all doing? Wasn't expecting to do a video, but I thought I'd give you a little update since I've got a little smidgen of time to kill. Came in today, lovely little run, 2-hour run for Omega up to Banbury. Nice drive up towards Oxford and what have you, Happy days, lovely. Started my drive, everything's going fine. Get about an hour and a half into my drive. I'm in a Mercedes, 2017 Mercedes today. Not a huge trailer, only 14 foot. But it's a vehicle we've gone higher because our company has been taken over by another transport. So I'm in one of the higher vehicles because the other transport company had 3 or 4 vehicles with us, and they've taken them back now because they're not with us anymore. So while the transport company's changing over, we got a couple of higher vehicles, and I was lucky enough to get one of these today. And I mean, my company I work with are really good. They look after their trucks. They keep everything in check. Keep everything nice and excuse the sweat. I literally just finished unloading. So I was driving up here. It's a bit of a scruffy truck compared to ours. We try and keep ours nice and clean as part of our daily routine. When we're finishing up for the day, we've got to give it a wipe over with some wet wipes. Make sure it's as good as you'd expect to find it when you jump in. Try and make sure it's nice and clean. So anyway, I jump in this one. It's a bit scruffy being a higher vehicle, but tidy enough. 600,000 kilometres is nothing for one of these things. So I'm driving on up, and about an hour and a half into my drive, and I come off a roundabout, just coming up towards the A420 by Swindon, heading up towards Oxford. Just come off the roundabout, the road's bumpy as hell, they're in the middle of digging it up. Went over a bump in the road, beep, came up on the dashboard, indicator light not working. I thought, right, it happens a lot when you're out and about driving. Sometimes it's your plugs, they go into the back of the trailer, you go over a bump, they can come loose. It'll say indicator not working. All you gotta do is pull over in a parking bay when you get a chance. First stop is usually pull your plugs out, have a look, see which lights are off. Usually taking them off, putting them back in is fine. Anyway, this time the indicator that went out wasn't actually on the trailer, which I found out eventually. So, like I say, I wasn't by a pull-in, so it came on, indicator light fault. So I said, okay, pressed OK on the dashboard. Immediately as I pressed OK on the dashboard, reversing bulb out. I thought, oh, strange. Okayed it, brake light bulb out. Oh, pressed it again, side light bulb out. I thought, right, something has happened. So anyway, I managed to get over into a pull-in, pulled over on the side of the road, having a look, and I was thinking, well, all the lights are going round, and I could see it was on the mud flap of the actual unit, passenger side mud flap, and the lights weren't on. So I thought, oh great, so I did the usual thing. First things first, no, didn't come back on. No problem. So I'm having a little look around it. The more I'm looking, I'm thinking, oh, my number plate is down. I was thinking, why is my number plate facing down? The end of my number plate's even snapped off where it's been bouncing on the road. I was thinking, that's a weird one, My number plate, it was in one piece when I saw it, because I filled in my number plate. When was the last time you checked the screws in your number plate? Anyway, one of the screws was missing. So then I've taken a deeper look, thinking, well, hang on, if one of the screws is missing, someone must have pushed that back straight, so maybe someone's had a little bump, made look good, and then disappeared. Anyway, did that, had a good look, got underneath, had a squint, suddenly realised none of the wires are going into the actual light cluster. So I'm thinking that's strange, because they were on when I did my walk around checks, indicators worked, brake, everything worked. So I started digging around and had a look, and on the inside of the wheel, on the wheel arch, the wiring loom was there with the plastic housing and the plug, which had all come out. Obviously knocked the number plate down, number plate was dragging, and that's what wiped my light out. So I was like, oh god. So I got underneath, botched it, fiddled with it, couldn't get my indicator working, but I could get my brake light working, I could get my side lights working. So I thought, that'll do for now. That's good enough. When I get up to my delivery depot, I'll see if I can find a bulb, get in there, change an indicator bulb or something like that if needs be. Anyway, jump back in the cab thinking, right, it's only an hour up to my drop. Just be careful, keep an eye out. You shouldn't really be driving with no indicator. There's no bulbs in here. Like I say, this is one of the higher vehicles. It's not as well equipped as ours. Jump back in, started it up. Dug. What the hell is that? Lorry's down on about 2-3 cylinders, coughing its guts up, spluttering. Not going to be able to move an inch. So I turned it off, reset it, did it again. Wouldn't start. This is at 9:45 this morning, hour away from my drop off. So it's like, right, no option. Phone the depot. Phone back to the depot, told them, look, we got issues here. Had a little problem with the lights, pulled over, looked at it, jumped back in, engine's running like someone has chucked a spanner in the middle of it. Alright, no worries, Tone. We'll get someone out to you. So I'm sitting and waiting. There's loads of phone calls going on back and forth because obviously it's not our vehicle. So they got to get hold of the hire company to see who they go with, who their recovery and who their work people are, plus where I am and who's. So I'm just sat there, I think just started chucking on brake. Chucked it on brake for a bit, about 10 o'clock. Sat there, chucked it on brake. 10:30 comes, they phone me back. Right, where are you? Give them a rough idea where I am, so I'm not showing up on GPS because I'm not in one of our trucks. So I give them an identity exactly where I am, not a problem. It takes ages for them to find me on Google Maps to pinpoint exactly where I am. Tell them where I am, lovely jubbly, happy days. We get back to you, Tone. Next call I get is from the recovery place. Where are you? So I went through it again, direct where I am. Lovely, we'll message you back when we know someone's close in the area. They'll come along and they'll recover you. What usually happens, I've broken down once before with an old company. What usually happens, they'll come along, have a quick look, see if they can fix her on the side of the road. If they can't fix her on the side of the road, they get one of them big buggers along, pick you up, drag you somewhere safe, and then it's a case of recovering me then. The lorry will go into a yard somewhere, and then they'll either send an empty lorry up to come pick up the trailer, because there's still a delivery to be done. And they'll either do that, and then drag that up to the shop, and then bring the driver home later. Or they'll send up one of the smaller vans, or you know, some of the companies are feeling flush and you're close enough, they might say get a taxi, get an Uber, we'll cover the cost. You know, get your drivers home. But anyway, I'm sat there and they tell me this guy's going to come along, he's going to have a look, try and fix you on the side of the road, he'll be with you by 1 o'clock at the latest. This is 10, so I'm like, right, couple of hours wait, he should turn up. 1:15, 1:30 comes, I'm phoning up the depot saying, look, I haven't seen this guy. Lo and behold, when it came to this time, I was like, I wonder if it'll fire up. So I started up the lorry, running lovely, it's driving really smooth, so I left it running, phoned the depot, I was like, look, it's kicked into life, this guy hasn't turned up yet, shall I just smash on, shall I turn around, shall I come back? So it's literally halfway. It's 2.5 hour drive from Newport up to Banbury, where I did my delivery. I was like an hour and 25 minutes into my drive. So it was an hour and 25 minutes back, or an hour and 10-15 minutes up here. No, we're still going to get charged. You wait there, make sure he comes along. We don't want you driving along and the lorry break down when you pull off. It does make sense. It wouldn't make sense if I made 100 metres up the road and start coughing and spluttering, and then I'm on the main road, I'm out on my lay-by. So I stayed put, and this guy turned up eventually, like. And it wasn't too much longer after that, actually, so I got hold of the company who's supposed to be picking me up. They said, you know, he's just left the last job, he should be with you in the next 45 minutes. So I was thinking, right, another 45 minutes. But he turned up about 10 minutes later, and he's good as gold, this guy, older fella. And I was like, look, I pulled over because my brake lights and everything went tits up. And then couldn't fix all that, got my basic lights working just without the indicator. Still got the indicator on the trailer. So I just need to get this engine running so I can do my delivery. He said, well, I might not be able to fix the engine. He said, I can fix your indicators though. So he had to go and he had to look. And straight away, as soon as he started taking it apart, he's like, someone else has been in here before. This has been botched. It's been held together. So this guy managed to sort it all out. Because I was thinking, how have I missed it? I haven't hit anything. I would have known if I'd hit something enough to wipe out my bloody entire light system and stuff like that. So no, he said, no, someone's been in here before. It's all sort of held together. So between the two of us, with a load of cable ties and a load of scratching and cleaning all the connectors up and stuff like that, he plugs it back in and the lights all come back on. It's an LED light, you can't just change a bulb, you need to change a whole unit. So we managed to get it going, but like I say, someone's been in there before because all the connectors were rusty, they were bent, you could see where someone's been in there with a screwdriver. So, you know, like I say, it's been a bit of an abused truck, I think. But anyway, the whole time he's doing this, it took about 25 minutes to sort out that bloody light, and the whole time he's doing that, I'm thinking, my engine still ain't working, and that's the reason he's come out. And he said he had another chap with one of these Mercedes Actros. Great trucks when they're working. But he said he got called out to one of those Actros, and his chap was driving along, and he said the truck kept going into automatic, like, emergency stop braking, where if someone cuts you off or gets too close, the lorry will step in and slow you down. And his lorry, for some reason, kept slowing him down and getting into a stop, and then he had to reset it, and then he could pull off. So it's a major issue. Like, you can't have that happening on the motorway. And he said, no, behold, that turned out it was something to do with one of his brake lights wasn't working, and that was enough to cause a circuit in the system where the computer was like, this ain't right, and just overruled it. So as we said, that's why I've done your thing. He's like, jump in, start it up. Jumped in, started it up, brilliant. He's like, right, in case the engine fault comes back, he said it was probably because your brake light went out, crazy enough, because that cluster was playing up and the connectors were really bad, that's probably what put the lorry into whatever mode it was in. It wasn't a limp mode, so it was juddering like that. It was almost like it was overfueling or down a cylinder. But anyway, he followed me up the road. He followed me for about 25 minutes, drove absolutely perfectly. Drove all the way up to Banbury, not a problem. Got here, apologised for being 4.5 hours late. You know, it's me thinking I'm going to have a quick, easy day. Yeah, nice one. So yeah, so apologise for that. Just got unloaded, jumped back in now thinking, oh, don't be juddering. Jumped in, it was juddering a little bit, but I revved it up and it settled down. So I'm like, yes, I've got to go home. It was only supposed to be a short run. I'm already 10.5 hours into my shift. I've got a 2.5 hour drive home. So, you know, I'm running a bit close on my running out of daily time, like driving time. But anyway, when I just finished by here, same as always, do your walk around checks, even when you've just done a delivery. So not only at the start of the day. So as I'm walking back around, I'm walking along and I have a look at my light where me and the guy were both underneath looking. I have a look at my light, I'm thinking, what's that bit of rubber hanging down by there? What's bloody falling off now? Stick my head underneath, place your bets. Yeah, blowout. Inside tyre on the backside, blown out. So now, instead of heading home, I phoned the DC again. Hiya buddy, guess what's happened? He was like, oh no, I'm broken down again. No, blowout. He just went, your lucky day, innit? I says, yeah, all I need now is for me to get home and the chip shop be bloody closed. Now, but they'll round my day off beautifully. It's okay, I've got a nice bottle of whiskey at home and I'm not in tomorrow, so I'll have a couple of glasses of that. If I get home, I don't want to bloody tempt fate. So yeah, so it's my day today. Well, started off with me thinking, well, I leave the yard at 8 o'clock, 7:30 start. I'll leave the yard at 8 o'clock, I'll get to Banbury by 10:30. So it's going to take me an hour to unload and reload so I can head back by 11:30. I'm going to be back in the yard by bloody 1:30, 2 o'clock. We could beat all the rush hour traffic, get back in the bloody house, nice and early, have the evening with the girls, wife and kids, have a nice bit of grub, watch a bit of telly, happy days. But here we are, 5:15, rush hour kicking off all around me and I'm stuck halfway out of a base. Now I've spotted the tyre, I can't drive. I mean, if I was in everyone's way, I could probably shuffle it and get out of the way. As it stands here, the only people who I'm in the way of are the people who shouldn't be bloody parked here anyway, so sod them, they can drive around me. So yeah, so there's my day. A 3.5, 4 hour breakdown in beautiful Oxford, followed by a pretty flawless unloading. And then finding out my inside tyre has absolutely exploded. Like proper blowout. I'm really disappointed that I didn't hear it. But I didn't hear a noise, I didn't see it. I didn't even have my radio on after we did the fix that light. Didn't even put the radio on because I'm listening then for the engine, thinking is it juddering, is it coughing, is there anything? So I drove the last hour and 15 minutes up here without the radio on. I didn't hear a bloody peep. So it's just one of those things. So I got a great big chunk of rubber now by the side of the bloody side of the lorry, and I'm hoping there's someone local to the area who hasn't already gone home at 5:15 in the bloody evening to come along and chuck a new tyre on my lorry. And then when I get home, then I'm going to have to fill out a bloody defect form because I've got to say, well, no, we need a new number plate. The brake lights need to come back off. There's been a tyre change. Bloody hell. What else now today? You know, I'm just half expecting now to get stopped by bloody Vosa on the way home and then want to go through everything because it's just been one of those days. So, see, it's not all fun. And I didn't even go to London today. It's usually London that riles me up. But no, I'm not riled up. It's one of those things. But isn't, you know, it's a good example of why you've got to get out the back and have a look. Have a look around your lorry. Because I say when I parked up, I thought it was fine. You know, it's been fine all day. I would have. It's crazy because the chunk of rubber that's come off. Obviously, it's like the whole outer rim's got. It's blown. The tire's properly blown. I didn't hear a pop. I didn't hear a bang. Didn't hear a rattle. I haven't felt anything. It's insane to me. I didn't feel it. You know, because I've seen lorries driving up the motorway when their tires are popped, and it's like a bomb going off, loud. It's like someone firing a gun. So unless this tyre was absolutely on its ass and maybe the pressure's just seeped out and it's just burned through that way rather than actually blowing, I don't know. Everything was fine. There's no warnings up or nothing. So yeah, it's crazy. And like I say, I drive other 2017 Mercedes Actros that the actual transport company I drive for own, and they're on 200,000 miles more than this, and they're mint. So don't always get fooled by mileage thinking I'll buy something because it's low mileage would be better. Depends how it's been treated. I've got a feeling this has been used by a lot of people when they've had lorries off the road, and I think it's just had a bit of an hard life. It's just been a bit mistreated. It's probably had different fuels chucked in left, right and centre. You know, because when I was on the phone to the yard, And he was like, oh, can you jump out and let us know what size tyres on there? Yeah, no worries, no worries. Jumped out to have a look. The outside tyre on the side I'm about to have changed is that tyre and water, and I couldn't even see the size of the tyre written on the outside. I had to look on the driver's side to see what tyre it is. So I said to him, look, these lorries from this hire company ain't great. And he said, no, we've got 4 of them at the moment. He said that, to be honest, a lot of the drivers are saying they're not brilliant. So I'm thinking back to 7 o'clock, 7:30 this morning. And she said, oh, would you be happy enough with the 2017 Mercedes? I was like, yeah, it's fine. Look, I really wish I'd gone, no. I want the Iveco with the cooling seat. That's what I should have taken today. I would have been home bloody 2 hours ago. My trotter's up. But there we go. Live and learn. Lesson learned. You know, it's not the end of the day. I mean, it's 7:20 now. I've got plenty of driving time left because there's only a 2.5 hour drive up here. So I'm not going to run out of driving time. Unless I'm waiting sort of 3 hours, I'm not going to run out of working time because you get 16 hours. That 16 hours you can't change that. Like, you know, with your driving time, if you drive 9 hours, you're not quite home. Twice a week you can take a 45-minute break and you can have the extra hours. You can do 10 hours, get you home. That's good. You know, you're all right to do that. The working time directive is, like, say, if you're doing your tests and you're learning about it, you'll all know that 16 hours, there's no extending that. You do not go over 16 hours. Simple as that. So I know it's a 2.5 hour long drive home. As long as our lad can get here now, or woman, I don't know who's going to turn up. As long as they can turn up now, whip this bloody wheel off. It's not too much of a pain in the ass. Good thing is now, because I've only got empty cages on my trailer, it shouldn't be too heavy. So hopefully I don't have to fart around dropping the trailer, pull the truck out. Hopefully you can just whip that tyre off. I've never had a tyre change before. This is the 3rd time I've had a breakdown in my 2.5 years, 2 years driving them. But I say this one, as in a good place, pleasant enough, wasn't a million miles from home, although you can't go home. And you know, I did have to wait a little bit, but I was never in panic thinking, oh my god, because I've got such a long day. So like I say, it's 7:30 now. I started work at 7:30. It's 5:30 now. Sorry, I started work at 7:30 this morning, so I have got until 1:30 in the morning to get home. I want to be home before that. I'll be on my ass if I get home at 7:30, at 1:30 in the morning. But no, so I'm not worrying. There's a case of going, oh my god, if they're not here, like, you know, I'm not going to be able to get home in time. You know, I'm not worried about that. So I'm a lot more chilled, and I can see a chip shop from where I'm sat. So worst case scenario, I can always go have a chippy here. The problem is when you've had a bit of grub, you want to go sleep in, then you after a long day. So I'm kind of holding off till I get home. So yeah, there goes me waffling again, but I'm all on my own. In a city I don't know, in a bloody broken truck. But no, they say if you have a breakdown, like I say, my breakdown was lucky. I was already stopped. You know, I was already stopped. It broke down when I was restarting it, and you know, I think now I can probably just rev through it. But it was an electrical gremlin. It was just threw up a fault or some sort, and I was it. I wasn't going anywhere. But no, I've broken down once before when I was working with my old company. Again, we were working out of Mega, and I was going over the Severn Bridge, and as I was coming off the slip road off the Severn Bridge, I just lost all power. It was completely flat. Struggle. So I kept the momentum, struggled it round the roundabout, got across, I couldn't get to a lay-by, so I just got to the widest bit of road I could stop without being in too many people's way. You don't want to stop across a junction. So down by there I was lucky enough to get it across. You got to be careful when you're putting your wheels up on a verge as well, because some verges are soft, you don't want to sink into it. But that breakdown wasn't too bad, because I was only 25 minutes away from the depot, and they sent a mechanic from down Bristol way. He turned up and the turbo had blown. So he followed me then to, that was in a Scania, so he followed me then to a Scania garage, dropped it off there. By the time I'd finished dropping it off and putting in all the paperwork and the keys, I come out, one of the other boys who was doing the drop in Bristol had driven past, I jumped in with him, come back to depot with him. So that was the first breakdown I had. The other breakdown I had, which was sort of the worst case scenario, I was delivering a load of to a cash and carry, and they had like half of it was a fridge, and they had loads of food and perishables and drinks and cans, heavy trailer. I was delivering it to St Austell in Cornwall, which is about as far as you can go on a day run without running out of driving time. You know, I was going to have to go into my extra time. Oh, I'm going to get back on this video because DC2 are calling me. Boss is calling. That's to hang up, and that was the office phoning me, letting me know they've apparently the people who are going to do the tyre are really, really busy. But they said, look, this guy's already broken down once. He's been waiting 3.5 hours, 4 hours for recovery. They went, oh, bloody, we'll get to him now, so we should be here in about an hour, apparently. I say he's good people. They're good people you end up working with. But I say I haven't got that panic stations. I can see a chip shop, and I know I've got plenty of working time left. But so sort of things you can't plan for. So it's always good to make a couple more sandwiches than you actually need, just in case. Because if I was in the sticks in the middle of nowhere with a blown tyre, and I'd drunk all my drinks and I'd eaten all my crisps and chocolate, I'd be panicking now. I'd be like Bear Grylls hunting food. But yeah, so that's the update on my day today. Great fun day. You know, I didn't mean to cut you off then, but like I say, they phoned, and at the end of the day I've got to answer the boss. And I like, when you're driving, you can just let the phone ring. That's why being a lorry driver is great. I mean, if they're trying to phone you to offer you more shifts or ask you to go somewhere else, if you're driving, you can't answer the phone anyway, so you can pretty much be your own boss and just ignore the phone. But since I'm kind of relying on them to get me home so I can see my bloody family today, I thought I'd better answer. But there we go. It is what it is. So no moving footage today because I haven't been moving much. But yeah, that's another little update. Sometimes you break down, you just hopefully got to find a good... Oh, that's what I was saying, yeah, with that Cornwall run. I wasn't lucky enough to break down in a good place there. Like I say, I was pretty much 4.5 hours away from my depot. Only about 15 minutes away from the shop I was supposed to deliver to that time. But I came off a roundabout, and you know Cornwall, if you've ever been down there, there's a lot of hills and slopes. Beautiful, absolutely gorgeous. I was coming up this one hill, and I came around the roundabout at the top. And these automatic gearboxes can be a little bit lazy. You can try and pull off, and then they're in 7th, and you're waiting for it to click down to bloody seconds so you can get moving. And it was in like 7th, and I put my foot down, it was just dead in 7th. So I give it a second, eased off, pressed again, and it just wasn't trying to change gear. And what happened that time was the solenoid for the gearbox had gone, and it was stuck in 7th gear. So I'm stuck on hill like that on this roundabout right at the bottom. I just about made it around the roundabout, and they're not big triple lane roads, it's only a single road. I just about got it to the point where people could get around the back of my trailer, and I couldn't go on the verge because it was a worst case scenario. And then I broke it down there, and I phoned them, and I was thinking these guys ain't gonna really get me home, like, because they weren't. This company I'm with now, they're wicked. Company I was with before, as much as they did rescue me, and I don't want to slag them off, I didn't think for a second they were going to save me. I thought they were going to say, bloody find a bed and breakfast, and when they fix the lorry, drive it home in 2 days. You know. But as it goes, they were happy with the work I did, and they liked me because I bailed them out a couple of times. And they sent down one of the guys from the office. They sent him down in his car, and he came and picked me up in his own car from the services that the recovery guy dropped me at. Like, but I say breaking down's never fun. It ain't, is it? Like, because you're in the hands of someone else. But it is what it is. Stay calm, get yourself as safe as you possibly can. Make sure everything's fine. Make sure everyone, members of the public and people, are fine. Make sure you're not blocking any crossings. I mean, if you see where I was parked now, bloody hell. I mean, I couldn't get into this car park straight to reverse onto the bay because everyone ditches their car here. It's because I'm not far away from a town centre. People use this loading bay as a car park. You know, everyone, no one wants to pay for parking, do they? So I've come in, so I couldn't get in straight, so I've had to reverse in off the main road. So I'm in the keep clear private loading space, but I'm on an angle like that, and I use my bridge to get across. And now that I'm kind of dead in the water waiting, I'm thinking I could have parked this a bit better. I'm not in anyone's way. So it is what it is. So there we go, ladies and gents. Truck driving, it's great fun. There's me thinking I'll be home by 4 o'clock. I'm going to be on bloody... I won't have to work the rest of the week. I got all my hours in today. This is where the agency comes in really, really handy. And I'm sure if I was full time, I'm sure they would accommodate it. Like, but for instance, with the agency now, if I was I'm not in tomorrow. I got decorating to do in the house. I've got a delivery due. So again, I haven't booked in tomorrow. So that's again, agency's handy that way round. But obviously now today I'm going to get a whole load more hours worked. So I get paid guaranteed 8 hours. You know, so even if I only work 6 hours, I get 8 hours. I've never worked 6 hours. I've always done 10, 11, 12. So today I'm probably going to be knocking on, I 13 hours, 13 and a half hours, something like that, I would have thought. So, who's this guy? Oh no, it's not him. It's not him. It's the thing now, I'm looking out every vehicle I see coming in with an orange light. I'm thinking, hey, here's my hero to save me. But, yeah, no, but like I said, it's a good thing with the agency now. If I was booked in tomorrow with the agency and I was supposed to be starting at 7 o'clock or 7, I'd be screwed, so I won't be able to get my 11 hours rest. I'm supposed to have 11 hours. I prefer to get 11 hours in. You can shorten it to 9 though. You can shorten it to 9 twice a week, I think. 9 hours rest. But you got to bear in mind that 9 hours rest isn't 9 hours from when you get home and get your head down. It's 9 hours from when you take that taco card out and you sign off and finish work for the day. So if I get back to the yard and I finish at 9 o'clock, and let's say I'm booked in to start work at 8 o'clock the next morning, that's my 11 hours. I finish work at 9 o'clock, and 8 o'clock in the morning is my 11 hours. It's fine. But the reality is, I finish work at 9 o'clock. It takes me 15 minutes to walk up to the car and get through security. Then I jump in the car. By the time I've driven home 45 minutes to an hour, it's now 10:15. I've already got, 8 hours, 9 hours until morning. So I've already lost a big chunk of my rest time, and then I've got that hour driving in the morning and getting up and having a brew. You don't get up, jump in the car, go. So you suddenly find then, if you take that shortened break and you've got a bit of a drive home like I have, you tend to find if I have a shortened break to 9 hours, I've got 7 hours to go home, get clean clothes, relax, have some food, and try and get in a good night's sleep before getting up and doing the same thing in the morning. Kind of pushing yourself with the agency is handy. Where if I was booked in tomorrow now, I'd already be on the phone to the agency saying, look, that ain't happening because I don't know what time I'm going to get home. So I can't guarantee you I'll be available for this time tomorrow, and so on and so forth. So there's another little positive with the agency. But there's also that flip side. When you cancel with the agency, you're not sure if the person on the other side is going to get their back up a bit and go, oh, he's cancelled on us, we won't use him. So I try and be as reliable as I can for this company. The agency I'm with, they'll throw me 6, 7, 8, 9 jobs a bloody day, asking if anyone wants to cover these jobs, and they blanket text everyone, and it's the guys who jump in for it. But so I'm happy with this company here. I know for the most part they got really good lorries. I know the work, I know the runs, the people in there are good, and the money's good. So I'm happy doing this. I mean, there's other guys who just want to mix it up and chop and change constantly, and they're happy doing work going down to the docks, moving steel, happy collecting timber, happy doing supermarket runs. As long as the money's right, they'll take any job. I mean, I'm not chasing the biggest wage, I'm chasing the job that I can quite happily do. And again, this company proved himself today. I mean, they could be thinking, bloody hell, what's he doing to the lorries? He must be driving. I mean, if this had happened on my very first day driving for this company, they'd be thinking, don't use him again, what's he doing to our truck? Probably thinking I'm bouncing off curbs and cutting corners and hitting potholes. I don't, honest. I don't, I try and look after these lorries because I know they've got to get you home. So, like I say, today is hopefully all of my bad luck for the year, all used in one day. And the funny thing is, when he came in this morning, he went, up to Banbury today. And I was thinking, I'm sure I've been there. And as soon as I looked at the route sheet and stuff, I thought, oh, that's a sweet run today. A little bit of M4 and then winding up through Oxford, some beautiful areas up there, lovely views. And a little blast on the M40 into Banbury, nice little town, plenty of access, and a great big yard to unload. And I thought today is going to be a nice day. That was 11 hours ago. So there we go. So there's my little update. Again, rambling on. But I think that's what it'll mainly be now, me rambling on. I was thinking about as well, maybe getting one of those cameras to, you get the sort of point of view. I thought that might be interesting for you all, because as much as I can say, oh, this is tight, that's awkward, this is what you want to be doing. So if I get one of those cameras on my head, you can kind of see what I'm looking at, when I'm doing these manoeuvres and reversing. And I'm not the best driver by any bloody means. I'm not the best. Usually takes me 2 or 3 shots to get in where I need to get. But again, you can sort of come on board and you can see, and it might be a bit more of an exciting view. You can see a bit of the road, you can see a bit of there, and we see how it goes. Like I say, I'm only doing YouTube for a little grin. And situations like now where I've been inside my own head all day apart from talking to the mechanic, and now I'm sat waiting again. So it's handy to talk to the camera sometimes. Stops you going mad, I think. Stops you going mad. So there we go. So there's my little update. Breakdown day. So there. Just stay calm if it happens. Phone the right people. you know, most companies should give you your kind of what you need to do if it happens. Like, you know, they'll tell you who to call. First call is usually straight to your boss, and then you can tell them where you're going. They can phone the shop then, because that shop were expecting me at 11 o'clock today, and they're blessed when I pulled up. You know, especially everyone's feeling a pinch now, even shops and stuff. So where they have deliveries, they'll get 2 or 3 people in at the same time who might not usually be working the same shifts, and they'll come in and then they'll all help unpack and unload. So they probably got 2 or 3 people in today expecting me to turn up by midday at the latest. I was projected to get here at 10:30. I was flying, I was well ahead of time. And in the end I turn up at bloody, I think I pulled in here at 10 to 4. 10 to 4, quarter to 4, something like that. So we're good 4.5, 5 hours later than they expected me. So then you feel like, oh, I've held all these up now today. They've all been sat around looking at their watch, waiting where the hell's this bloody driver. But they all knew. As soon as I pulled up, they were like, oh, you've had a day, haven't you? But, you know, you don't want everyone kind of thinking, bloody hell. Now, they've all just gone home. I've seen all them just drive off. They're probably thinking, well, the hell's the drive? Haven't you had enough break today? He's been sat still all day. But, yeah, there you go. So again, if you end up in this situation, you've got a company that ain't looking after you, they don't feel like they're doing their best to try and look after you, well, there you go. Lesson learned with an agency. You can go, next time they offer me a run, they can stick it. You know, I'll go with a company who's going to look after me. And like I say, you try hard for a company, they tend to be prepared to you know, do that little bit extra for you, like, you know. So there we go, breakdown day. So I'll let you all get back to what you're doing if any of you bothered watching, and I'm gonna have a little watch of YouTube, I think, and then see if listen to a couple of tunes, watch some YouTube, and wait for our man to turn up and chuck me a new tyre on. And then I think I'll just drive home with my fingers in my ears and just wait till I get back to Newport before I see if there's any bloody damage. You know, I've had enough of parking up today. I mean, I don't think I could work in an office being sat down this long. You got to be moving. So there we go. So yeah, hope everyone's well. Hope I'm not too boring. And until the next time, I suppose. All the best. All ta-ra. Morning all, I'm going to add this on the end of the other video. Well, remember I was saying, oh, I'll be fine, I won't have to sleep in the cab. I had to sleep in the cab. Waiting for the guy to change the tyre, he didn't turn up till about 9 o'clock. So by the time he did that, I just did not have the working hours left to get home, so I just blasted down, stopped an A420, had to sleep there. I say sleep, oh, it's not comfortable in this cab. You can make them comfy, you know, if you bring a quilt and a pillow. No, long day. So now I've driven back, and as usual, M4 going into Cardiff or coming into Wales. It's taken me, well, it took me about an hour and a half to drive down from the A420 down to the Severn Bridge. It's taken me another hour to do the last 4 miles. So yeah, so it shows what I know, doesn't it? But he ended up changing both the tyres on the one side. He said they were in pretty bad shape. Obviously the one that blew had blown really big time, like. So if you only changed the one tyre, I might have been able to get back. I was looking at the time, I could have only got sort of half an hour away from the depot. There was no one else in. What companies will sometimes do is you can get, if I got say half hour away and stopped in like Lee Delamere services or something, if they had a spare driver, he could have potentially come up with one of the other drivers, and then he could have driven this back with me, and then I could have got home last night. But as it goes, I started work at 7:30 yesterday morning. It's now 9 o'clock the next day, and I've got to go in now and do my usual signing off. I'm probably going to have to do a default sheet on this truck, hand that in and everything, but then hopefully I can just jump my car and bloody go home. So I'm absolutely knackered, absolutely green crack. I had my 9 hours. Like I say, I took a shortened rest. Obviously, I'm not going to try and sleep for 11 hours. I would have only just started getting moving now. Although with this traffic, it might have made more sense. But I say, as much as it's restful, it's not really. It's not like the sleep you get in the house when you're couched up in your bed. So yeah, very broken sleep. Get quite cold in these cabs as well, considering I'm wearing a bloody t-shirt. You know, genius. But no, so there we go. That was yesterday. Breakdown, 4-hour recovery wait, flawless delivery, tyre blowout, 2-3 hour wait for the tyre, and then sleeping in the cab. There we go, every day's different. So that is where I'm signing off this video. I don't know when I'll upload it, but yeah, great, innit? So all the best everyone, and I'll speak to you again soon, hopefully with a flawless sunny day on a nice road with a comfortable lorry. Cheers all, you'll take care.